what's our old friend Bill Gates up to? Yeah, Bill. Bill, Johnny? Well, as we know, Bill's got his finger in a couple of pies, one being that he practically owns the World Health Organisation. Well, I'm sure our millions of viewers will be happy to know about that. Yeah, it's great to know, but anyway. But Johnny, surely Bill's doing some bloody thing that's going to change the world, make a big difference. Well, funny you should ask, Johnny, because Bill's got his bloody finger, as I said, he's got his finger in this particular pie, and that pie being burying trees. Burying trees? Yeah, burying trees. Now, Bill's obviously done a bit of bloody study on it. burying trees. And he reckons that old trees, big old trees, especially when they die, they stop taking in bloody carbon dioxide and bloody start pushing it out as they rot. So Bill's come up with the idea that if you bury these big bastard trees, if you bury them all, they can't give off the bloody gas, and they can't give...
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Bill Gates' unconventional approach to combat climate change by funding a scheme to cut down and bury trees through Kodama systems has generated both interest and skepticism. The project, which received $6.6 million in seed funding from Gates' Breakthrough Energy Initiative and other sources, aims to save 70 million acres of western forests over the next decade, particularly focusing on California. However, instead of traditional uses for timber, Kodama Systems plans to bury the trees to prevent the released carbon from re-entering the atmosphere and contributing to global warming.
But Johnny, doesn't Bill know that to bury bloody millions of trees, you've got to fucking dig millions of big holes? Yeah, well, they would be big holes, Johnny. They're big bloody... And how many bloody trees is he going to have to bury to make a difference? Yeah, I don't know, Johnny, whether Bill's bloody thought about this appropriately.
Some pretty odd stuff is going on. Bill Gates is at it yet again, and the new plan involves something entirely different. The new plan involves, well, cutting down forests and then burying the trees. You heard that right.
Right. Yes, of course. It's gonna have to bury bloody millions of trees. But Johnny, to do all this burying, you'd need a hell of a lot of land. I don't know whether Bill's got enough bloody land to do it, or millions of big holes dug where. Well, we'll have to find out.
Bill Gates has been gobbling up land for years now. He's actually one of the largest private farmland owners in the United States, with over 270,000 acres across multiple states.
In 2020, Bill Gates made headlines for becoming the largest private farmland owner in the US.
Yeah, the biggest landowner. Yes, I think you're right. So maybe he's planning to bury his goddamn big old trees in all his bloody, on all his farms.
When doing this, it's a company that has created a new product, a new method of fighting climate change, and they say it'll protect us from wildfires. It's good for the environment, or at least good on the climate change agenda. Because forests and trees, they're fire hazards. And if trees were somehow to catch on fire, well, that just causes climate change. And so this is not even joking the narrative right now.
Holy shit!
Now trees are carbon release and fire risks. And that must be cleared out and the trees thinned out. We're now being told that forests are overcrowded with trees. How things change, and so quickly.
To save the world, he reckons he's got to cut down the...
But for me, the whole concept just seems bizarre. And if the trees are buried and they decompose more slowly, isn't that just storing up a huge problem for the future as more and more trees are buried? Over time, the accumulated release of carbon would increase in volume. After all, it would all have to be released in the end, wouldn't it? Even if it does take thousands of years, as is being suggested.
Now, burying the trees, that would mean huge big bloody works and bloody big machines probably pumping out greenhouse gases, and probably defeating the purpose of him burying the trees in the first place. But I don't know whether that's occurred to Bill yet. But Johnny, unless he used... Even Bill hasn't got the resources to bury bloody a billion trees. Jesus Christ, we may as well send the bloody dead trees to Mars and dump them up there. To Mars? Send the trees to Mars? Well, no one's going to go up there. It's just a shitty planet of rocks and sand and no air.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
The amount of trips you'd have to make, Johnny, to put all the dead trees on Mars, I don't reckon it'd be worth it. There's not even worms or bacteria or anything on there. There's nothing.
And no one's talking about it.